Hey everybody, thanks for joining me live here. And we are solo today, so it'll be interesting, that's for sure. And so where are we at? So we have a new contest that I've just tried to put together at the last minute here. Thanks to Discovery Optics for agreeing to do this. There's a bit of a delay because actually there was a major holiday in Asia. For those of you who don't know, it was the fall or the moon festival, and I've never been during that to Asia this time of year, so I actually don't know what that kind of festival is like. But I hear it's quite picturesque with a lot of lanterns and things like that because it is moon festival, therefore it's a sort of a night festival. So I'm sure there's a lot of lights and it's quite beautiful. If you've ever been, please let me know if you've had a chance to see something like that and share some photos. I'm sure it was just spectacular. I've been to Asia during Lunar, or otherwise known as Chinese New Year. I've been to Hong Kong, and they really do it up in terms of floats and things like that and lights, and it's quite spectacular. So I just gotta assume that the Lunar Festival has got to be also a major one, since they do close down for a couple of days. So long story short, that's the reason why I wasn't able to get a hold of a lot of the folks that I was working with. And also a little bit of a delay because last week, as you know, for those of you who tuned in, I gave away two prizes as far as for my September giveaways, and we did pick winners, which is great. But when I contacted the folks in Asia, I got the sort of automated reply that the office is closed for a major holiday, so it's okay. So they finally got back to me a few days ago and let me know that they got the emails and they've sent out the prizes. So for those of you who are two winners who won their prizes, it's coming, and I sent you tracking information for them. So you should be getting your scope and your night vision goggles very soon. So let me know when you get them, and hopefully you can join me for a live stream and tell me a little bit about your prizes and how they worked for you. But as I was mentioning, we do have a new prize for this month, and that is courtesy of Discovery Optics, who are letting me give away a set of scope mounts. Now, as of the moment, these are the scope mounts that I for sure can show you that they are giving away. These are precision cantilever mounts, and they're available. Your choice. The winner can choose between 30 and 34 millimeter, and they have two different heights. This is the 1.5 inch, sort of the standard height for LPVOs and a lot of smaller Bell scopes, but they also have a higher one if you have like a 56 millimeter scope, or you want just a higher profile. And I know that's become more of a common doctrine for CQB and a lot of gunfighters out there, because even though it's sort of counterintuitive, because a lot of us who are used to shooting rifles and hunting have been told forever you want to have your scope as low to the bore, as close to the bore as possible, so that there's no chance of your point of impact shifting because of the difference in the picture between where your scope is and where the bullet is. But actually, a lot of tactical guys will say no. They prefer a higher scope position because it gives them a more heads up position, so they're not heads down, and they don't get as much of a tunneling effect, at least psychologically. It gives them a lot, when you're scanning, you have a much more peripheral vision, so you don't have to, bring your cheek down into your stock as much. So they like the higher one. So long story short, you can choose between the higher profile 1.95 inches or the 1.5 inch height. Now, they also are coming out with a brand new set of these, and these actually, let me just, before we talk about that, these are actually quite nice. They come with 3 recoil lugs at the bottom, and I don't know if you could see this here, but there's actually a alignment pin between your 2 screws. So that's a feature that's only available on their I guess you would call them more premium. I wouldn't quite call them high end, even though I think they are high end in terms of the construction. But there's a lot of guys out there who say no, these are, Discovery makes budget stuff. I will not consider anything high end unless these mounts cost me $300. So anyway, for those of you out there, I understand your point of view, but I just wanted to point out that this has a reference pin on the center so that it helps keep it in alignment, and you're not just relying on the screws, because there's just a little bit of play that's required when you're putting screws in. So for those of you who want that level of precision, these rings do have it. Now, let me just show you here the October contest. I've posted up a video on this, and it's also available on my website at moondogindustries.com/contest. So you can get a chance to win these scope mounts. All you have to do is be a subscriber to my travel channel, Moondog Go, and some of you already are, which is great. So you've already probably, for those of you who already know the drill, the requirements for entering the contest, and it's absolutely free to enter the contest. The requirements are that you have to be a subscriber to Moondog Go or follow me on Twitter, X, and show proof that you have. And all I'm requiring in terms of proof is your ability to take a screenshot of one of my either posts on Twitter or one of my videos on YouTube and show me the subscribe button. If you're subscribed, it'll say subscribed. Easy enough, right? And just send me a screenshot. Now, if you go to moondogindustries.com/contest, there's a button at the bottom there where you can upload your screenshots and, of course, fill out your information so I know you're a real human and not a bot. And because I've been hit by hundreds of bots recently, and I talked about that in my last live stream. But there's bots aplenty, especially on YouTube, and so prove that you're a real human, and you'll be entered into the contest, and I'll be drawing the winner at the end of the month to win these. And by the way, if you don't like scope mounts, if you don't like a cantilever mount, you also have the option to get scope rings if you prefer those. And these scope rings are quite nice. As you can see here, I've got a photo of them. These are their Discovery Optics premium precision scope rings. As you can see here, that silver on the inside isn't silver paint. It's actually the bare metal that with a protective coating. But these are pre-lapped rings. So these are quite nice. So you have a choice between scope mounts or these precision rings. But here's the thing. They're actually creating like an even higher end tier of these 70-75 mounts, also pre-lapped on the inside. So if you prefer to have the weight, and hopefully they'll get here and release them in time, but you also have the option excuse me, you also have the option of getting the pre-lapped premium rings, but just timing in terms of getting them released. And of course with the now ended longshoreman strike back in the East Coast, there's been delays in terms of shipments of things. So that's the reason why I couldn't guarantee that they will be the premium rings, but if they do have them available, you have the option of either getting the premium rings or the premium mount in this contest by the end of October. So it's all good, and it's free. There is one other additional way you can get an entry, and I'll tell you in a second. Talking, it does really dry your throat. By the way, so here's an example. So if you hit the subscribe button on my homepage, you can show that as well. Just say if it says subscribed and you send me a screenshot of that, that's good. Follow me on X. But here's the third way that you can get a bonus entry. If you make a donation to the Sacred Heart Cathedral Youth Choir, and there's a fundraiser that's going on, and that's where my daughter goes to school. Their school choir is fundraising for a trip to New York City next year, and they will be competing in the hope I pronounce this correctly or get the name right. It's the National Youth Choir Festival, and they're going to be competing against other choirs from other high schools around the country, and they're going to be giving the ensemble is also going to be trained under a director, and they're going to be giving a free concert in Carnegie Hall. So that's the awesome thing, is how often do you get to perform in Carnegie Hall? And I'm really excited and proud for my daughter that she got, she was able to get into the high school choir, but also that they're going to be able to do that. So we're helping her raise money for this trip. So it's on her. We told her, that she's got to raise the money, but I'm helping out. Of course, dads always got to help out. So anyway, that is if you make a donation to her fundraiser and send me, I had to do it through PayPal. Rather than GoFundMe, I was going to go through GoFundMe, and a lot of people do. But here's the thing: I didn't choose GoFundMe because GoFundMe is great. Don't get me wrong here, but one of the features about GoFundMe is all the donations are anonymous to the organizer of the fundraiser. So I have no way to contact or get in contact with anybody who donates. So it makes it that much harder for me to confirm, let's say when somebody donates to a contest like this, who they are, if they, who actually donated, and for me to give them credit in terms of the contest. But so that's the reason why I chose to go with PayPal. But here's the problem: is when I originally set up this page, PayPal had this fundraiser option on their website, but now they don't. In fact, as of yesterday, they ended all fundraisers on PayPal. If you had an ongoing fundraiser, they will continue it until it ends, because you have to set a date for the end. But prior to this, I set the previous fundraiser to end at the beginning of the month, because that was part of last month's contest. So I was going to renew the fundraiser for this month, but then that's when I found out you can't. So I had to scramble today and reset all this thing, set it up. But hopefully now, if for those of you who are on the chat or live streaming, if you can hear me on this, if you wouldn't mind going to moondogindustries.com/contest and clicking on the fundraiser button and seeing if you can make a donation. Just put $1 or whatever, just to see if it's test it out for me. I would appreciate that. So yeah, it's dumb. This isn't some way to get you to donate. I just would like to see the test. So put a minimum amount or what have you. So I wanted to call out some of the folks who were able to jump on to the live stream early. So I want to thank them here. Abigail Finnegan, thank you for Slancha as well, and Millifalcha for those of you who understand Irish. And we also have Michael DeHart, Michael Dunn. Hey, how are you, Michael? And Oversoul 225. And apparently he wanted to thank me for introducing him to the Ghost 2 times magnifier. For those of you who don't know, that's a new optic that Discovery Optics, actually, fortunately, very fortunate, I happen to have it here on my desk on my shelf next to me. This is the 2 times multiplier from not Discovery, sorry. I apologize. My apologies to Monstrum Tactical. They're going to hate me for misnaming who made this product, but this is from Monstrum Tactical. And this is the only forward magnifier that I know of, a really true forward magnifier in terms of a long eye relief, because you can use this. I'm at arm's length and I could see this. And what this is a 2 times magnifier, but you can, because it has basically almost like an unlimited eye relief, you could put it in front of a red dot or a prism. So let's say if you're running a 4 times prism, you can put this, and it's a side it's a side fold magnifier, yet 4 times prism suddenly becomes an 8 times. So yeah, this is really cool and very unique. So from Monstrum Tactical. One thing you should be aware of, though, and I wasn't aware of until I started testing this, is because of the optics, and for those optics nerds out there, and I wish I was as much of an optic nerd as people think I am, but what I didn't realize is that because the magnifying optic is in the front, it changes your zero. I didn't know that until I started testing this. So when you place this in front of your optic, you do have to zero this out, just like as if you were putting a magnified optic on there. So that's interesting. So, but here's a possible benefit of that. Let's say you're running a 2 or 4 time optic in front, or let's say even if you're running a 1 time optic, let's probably make it, or a red dot. You could set your 0 at 50 yards or 100 yards, right? So that you know that your point of impact is right on the dot. You put this up in front of there, and not only do you have 2 times magnification, but now you could set up your 0 for this at 300 yards or 200 yards or what have you. So when you need that extra range, there you go. And it's zeroed out for that range. So I think that's a really cool feature. Probably one that they don't advertise, but just something that occurred to me that you could do with this. So that's actually kind of neat. All right. So I want to thank everybody for coming online early. And I wanted to also let you know that I will be giving away a prize. And let me just set that up here. I just want to make sure that that's all set up properly. Now, let's see, the giveaway tool. So what I'm going to be giving away, first giveaway today is going to be a Moondog patch. And this is kind of cool. Let me minimize this now, maximize. So this is a patch from evic.com. It is a Doge and Vincent Vega, or Doge's Vincent Vega patch. It's a really cool, cute. Oh no, sorry, John Wick, not Vincent Vega, but it kind of looks like him, doesn't he? For those of you, maybe I'm just I'm dating myself. That would be from Pulp Fiction, but actually it's the Doge John Wick patch, and you get a Moondog patch. So the first prize is going to be going to everybody. I'm going to give you a hashtag in a second here. I just want to make sure that I do have this giveaway properly set up. And let's see. And let's make the hashtag Doge. So let's do that. So if you put in your hashtag Doge, hashtag DOGE, I will be giving away. I'll be giving away this in about let's say in about 10 minutes. I'll do that. So everybody put in a hashtag Doge. Thank you, Abigail. And you can get a chance to win this I'm saying it again. John Wick patch, Doge John Wick patch. And what am I drinking, me? You may be wondering. Iced tea, just iced tea. But it's sun tea, because for those of you who don't know, it's been crazy hot here in San Francisco, and San Francisco's known for having the mildest weather in California. And that's the reason everybody comes here and nobody wants to leave, even though it's a shite hole. Let me just say that in terms of the politics here and the city governance here. It's a mess. It's a hot mess, but the weather here is outstanding. It's beautiful, usually year round. But this last week, it's been crazy. It was hotter here 2 days ago, 90 degrees, than most of any other city in the United States, which is just odd. It's just odd. I'm not going to be saying, oh, it's because of global warming or whatever like that. It's just an odd thing, because it's hotter. It was hotter here than it was in Los Angeles. It's weather. It's strange. So, but Northern California especially has been known for having microclimates. San Francisco this week has been unusually warm, but hopefully the weather will stay warm, because it tends to be what they call Indian summer here. It tends to be warmer in the fall than it is in the summer. And in summer, sometimes it can get the fog, and it could be like 50 degrees here in the middle of the afternoon. And that's the reason why Mark Twain said famously, the coldest winter he ever experienced was a summer in San Francisco, because it could get cold. But I wish it was a little milder. But hopefully we'll have good weather for this weekend, because it's going to be Fleet Week. And for those of you who don't know, that's when the Navy comes in and brings in the part of the Pacific Fleet that makes home here. and you get to tour the vessels, including and they have air shows. The Blue Angels are coming in. In fact, last year I got a chance to see Fleet Week from a friend's house because I was house sitting for him when he was out of town, and he has he's actually a little fortunate, a little on the more fortunate side of life. He has an amazing apartment with a view that to die for of San Francisco Bay, and it was a commanding view over Ghirardelli Square below us, and you could see all of Fleet Week, and the air show was right above our heads. In fact, I made a couple of videos from Fleet Week. Let me share you with you. It was one of the biggest videos on my travel channel, Moondog Go, and let me just share a brief section of the. This is the parade of ships. Now, this is the view from his apartment. As I said, it is a sick view. And this is at the beginning of the festivities of Fleet Week. The ships came in, and then they had the air show about an hour later. And I did a little time lapse. And as I mentioned, the Blue Angels also make an appearance. And if you haven't seen a Blue Angels show, it's spectacular. So if you get an opportunity to see them, or the Thunderbirds for that matter, depending on where you happen to be in the country, go see them. It's a once, at least once in your life, go see them. I gotta say, it's our tax dollars well spent. So yeah, that's coming up this week. So I hope the weather holds up for that. And I'll include links to those videos, the full length video, because I also filmed the entire air show on my website at moondogindustries.com. You'll find after the end of the show, I will type up all of the notes, all of the links to all the things I'll be showing on the show today for the website, so you'll get a chance to see that. All right, so get your hashtags in, Doge, D-O-G-E, and we'll be pulling the winner for that prize right now. And let me get that presentation page up for the giveaway. I think that's the share screen on this Google Slides giveaway tool. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, so let me just give everybody a second or so to get their last hashtags in for anybody who jumped in just now. I'll give you a count of 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, let's draw these. Okay, Mike, congratulations. All right. Now, I'm trying to remember how to turn that off. I know. This is one of the things. I wish Hillbilly were here to fix some of my stumblings. But I want to thank I wanted to give a shout out to Hillbilly, American Hillbilly, who's actually helped me with setting all this up for my live stream. and I do appreciate all of his mentorship in terms of getting the information on how to set these up. And I will make a note here. So, Michael. So, Michael, be sure to send me. I'm going to make a note of this, that you won the John Wick patch. But if you would, send me an email. You can find my contact information on my website. And let me just send you, let me post up a link to that page for you guys to find that. I think it's on my contact. Oh, no. Contact. All right, so let me just post this up for you, for everybody here. And there we go. So Michael, I don't know if you prefer Michael or if you prefer S. Michael, but anyway, send me an email and give me your contact information in terms of mailing that prize, and you'll be getting it this week. All right. So I think we've talked about the prize that I'm giving away, these scope rings. So be sure that you enter that contest, and hopefully the donation buttons are working now. Damn YouTube, or damn PayPal, but then again, it's also YouTube too for their shenanigans sometimes. All right. Oh, by the way, for those of you who haven't watched I think it's 2 weeks ago on the Hillbilly Guns, Beer, and Therapy live stream, Hasbro, who is a regular guest on his show, showed off his new challenge contest. This target, it's called the Hammer Time contest. Well, I took part of it, and as you can see, didn't do too well. I mean, I missed these two coins. I'm going to try it again because I was having a little bit of a problem with my CZ, and I was actually going to look into that because for some reason, a couple of times when I was shooting, my firing pin wouldn't reset. So I worked the bolt, but the firing pin little indicator didn't pop out, and when I pulled the trigger, nothing happened. And well, maybe it's because I haven't shot it in probably about 6 months, because I've been shooting other guns in a test. But it's the first problem I've had with this rifle. It's a great shooting rifle, but don't know why the firing pin stuck. So anyway, I was having little issues with fighting the rifle on all this. Yeah, I'll blame that for missing some of these at 50 yards. But maybe if I get an opportunity this weekend, I'll shoot this again. But if you have an opportunity, I'll include a link to Hasbro's website so you can download this yourself. He has these targets in other calibers, by the way. The current challenge is at 50 yards. So he has 300 blackout, and he has a PCC target. They're all slightly different sizes on the Mario. You don't hit Mario. No, don't hit Mario. You're aiming for the hammer, and depending on the size of the target, you're supposed to shoot all of them. From, starting with the top ones. You're supposed to hit the hammer and not Mario. If you hit Mario, you get a penalty points. But if you hit the hammer, you get the points that are on there: 2, 3, 5, and 300 blackout, pistol caliber carbines, and 22s, which of course is what I was shooting. I'm forgetting. 6.5 Creedmoor, of course. So you have those different calibers choices in the contest. Oh, hey, speaking of YouTube shenanigans, thank you to Fuku YT for joining us. How are you? That is perfect timing here. By the way, there is more than one contest today. So in about 10 minutes, I will be giving away the second prize today, which is a UTG 10-round polymer mag from UTG Leapers. So if you haven't had a chance to try their magazines, this is your chance. I have. They're really well made magazines. Interesting styling. Very mech anime to me. But I don't know, maybe what you think. But certainly it has a very kind of a space age look to it. I don't want to open this, but it's got some interesting. There we go. I think that's a good. You can see some interesting molding, and it also has already a pre-molded, almost like a loop to either put string or enough to get your fingernails or just your fingers to pull it out. Should you need to have that extra leverage to pull it out of your ammo pouches, whatnot. So I'll be giving that away, and I'll let you know what should we use for the giveaway. Let me close this tab, and let me put a new match tag, new hashtag UTG. How about that? Just pretty much straightforward there. Get your hashtags in for hashtag UTG, and you get a chance to win that magazine as our next prize, and it will give away in like 10 minutes. All right, so there we go. All right, so what else do we have to talk about this week? One of the things that I like to share is some of the things that I happen to watch on YouTube. And I'm sure, I mean, you're watching me now, but of course we all watch other stuff. And one of the shows and podcasts that I enjoy watching and listening to is Mike Rowe's. And I don't know if you've had if you're aware of Mike Rowe, but he was the host of Dirty Jobs. He's the voice of like Shark Week and all these shows on Discovery, and a great individual, by the way. He started the Mike Rowe Foundation to raise money for scholarships for students who want to get into trade schools, because he realized there's tons of scholarships out there if you want to get into colleges, but if you wanted to get into the trades, welding, electrical or what have you, there's really no other options out there. And for a lot of folks, you can make a lot of money, seriously. So you can make some serious money and a real honest career in the trades. You don't have to go to 4-year college and get a degree. And a lot of the degrees out there are kind of fluffy, to be quite honest. I went the path, the standard path that my parents set out for me. Go to college, get a degree, and I actually got a degree in advertising design, which I went to a trade school. To be honest, I went to a design school, but it wasn't in a few generations back. I would have not needed to go to a 4-year college and got a degree in a bachelor's in arts in graphic design. It would have been pointless, because if you want to do that kind of work, you should apprentice with a design firm and learn how to do all that stuff. And I still, to be quite honest, I think even most schools don't really teach you anything that you need when you're actually working. All they're doing is like just teaching you the bare minimums of mediocrity in what you're doing. The real folks who can do really great stuff will teach themselves or learn from the best to do better work. Because honestly, if I could have done when my previous career in advertising without a 4-year degree, I learned as much from actually working and learning from other folks who I was working with than I did at school. So there you go. But anyway, Mike Rowe, great human being, great show. And one of the things I was listening to, his show number 398, was with a professor. He's a lecturer over the Hoover Institute at Stanford. And I know Stanford's, considered the West Coast Ivy League school. And it's like one of the high-end schools here in California. But recently has gotten rather woke and crazy, like a lot of the other elite schools out there. But the Hoover Institute is was founded by Hoover, who was one of our presidents, and it was oftentimes blamed for causing the Depression, but actually it's more complicated than that. But I won't get into that rabbit hole. But my point is, the Hoover Institute is an economics institute, and some really good thinkers and writers and scholars come out of there and are not involved in any of the social aspects of it. But he teaches classics over at the Hoover Institute and some other colleges. I believe Hillsdale. He mentioned Hillsdale and Pepperdine University, which is a private school in Southern California. And it got me thinking about the classics. I don't know if when you went to school, even in high school, if you'd studied any of the classics. And by classics, I'm talking about like classic literature. I mean, really, what did you read in high school or college? They assign books to you, right? What he teaches are books that like St. Augustine, Cicero, Virgil. Those are the classics that he discusses. And it just occurred to me, I never read any of those books. I've heard of them, but I would like to take some time and read some of those great thinkers. Descartes and de Tocqueville, because a lot of the people that I respect in terms of their opinions on things, and they're from past generations, and they talk about these great thinkers, and I only know of them either from memes or quotes, or from their quotes of them. So I think it would behoove me, and probably a lot of folks out there, for us to look into those. But getting back to my question earlier, what kind of books did you read that were considered the sort of standard classics, or the syllabus of what we in our education, our previous generation of education, considered to be what the required standards of reading? I was required to read. I was required to read Gone with the Wind, Cry the Beloved Country, Raisin in the Sun, To Kill a Mockingbird, and I'm just trying to think of some of the other books. We didn't, some of the books that they don't. Do they teach them now? I think they should, like 1984. I think I read that later. Actually, no, you know what? I didn't finish that book. I skipped over and started reading because it was a little depressing. I read recently. The last book I read was Animal Farm, also by Orwell, and it's just, I think it's worthwhile for us to read some of these books, because just because they used to be presented as sort of standard pieces of literature, it's a touchstone for a generation, because it's something that we can all refer back to. In previous generations, they when the Bible was taught in schools, the Bible is just a collection of books, right? So a lot of what we consider to be education is the original universities, they were basically Bible schools, and everybody was taught philosophy, Socrates, Plato. So they had these canons of books that all these scholars and the people who were considered the literate and the educated all read the same books. And while yes, it could be stifling, because if you all you read are the same books generation after generation, you're not you're not encouraging people to explore new writers. Understandable, for sure. But when you come to the situation with a lot of education nowadays, where everybody's reading like the hot new book all the time, and there isn't like a corpus of standard books, there's less of a unifying body of knowledge that all of us can refer to and talk about. To some degree, other media has filled that role. I mean, everybody at work would talk about Game of Thrones or whatever show is hot on TV. When I was a kid, everybody would be talking about Dallas or Dynasty or whatever was in the news, and or very topical like Roots or The Day After. And that becomes, in a sense, functions in the same way as sort of a corpus, where something that all of us can refer to, but it's a, generational thing. And it just, anyway, watching that episode of Mike Rowe just kind of made me think about that I really should go back and read some of these classics. So let me get answer some of the comments you guys had. Abigail mentions that she read a lot of Tolkien as a kid, and so did I. Great, awesome. Which was the first book that you read of Tolkien? Because for me it was A Hobbit, because I guess it was the shorter book. So at the time, when I was younger, I was a little put off by the thickness of the Fellowship of the Rings and Lord of the Rings. Like 3 books, and they're all so thick. But then I was telling my son on the ride to school earlier, it was yesterday, and then I was saying, when you get into books, you'll actually want to read the thicker books, because by the time you get into a book, a shorter book, especially ones that are made for are considered juvenile fiction, I actually started avoiding those when I really got into the enjoyment of reading fiction, because by the time you really got into the characters, the book's already over. And it's like, well, what happens next? I want to read more. And unless it's a series, you don't get more. So that's why I actually preferred the thicker books. I knew I would have a lot of meat to get into in terms of the story. So, yeah, Tolkien was great. And of course, nowadays, everybody, the previous generation would be reading Harry Potter, and I think the closest we got all the books of Harry Potter for my son, but he didn't get into that, and my daughter didn't like reading it at all. I don't know why. They preferred watching the movies. I can understand that. Oh, so Abigail said that it was The Hobbit. So, and it was your dad's. That's cool. That's awesome. And it was The Hobbit for me. And I even started reading the Silmarillion, but it was the prose was so old school and sort of stilted, because it's written very much in the way like the Bible is written in that kind of prose. It was hard to read for me to get into, because it was a lot of like, they did this, or anyway. But I was a bit of a Tolkien nerd, but then again, I also played D&D, so that's not surprising. So, and you never, so, the Harry Potter books, I actually got into them in audiobook form. And if you get an opportunity, sometimes if you're lucky, the audiobooks, are read by good actors rather than the author. And now sometimes the authors are good, but it's kind of a hit or miss depending on the author. It's always good to hear the authors reading it, unless they're not that good at reading. And that's the unfortunate thing. But if their author is good at reading, they really, you hear it straight from their mouth in terms of their emphasis. And for the longest time, I didn't know how to say Hermione. It's like when you read it, for those of you who read Harry Potter, did you know that her name was Hermione when you read it? So I got a chance to hear some of the Harry Potter books, the second and most of the Harry Potter books up until except for the first and the last 2 as an audiobook read by, I think it was read by John Coltrane, who's the guy who plays Hagrid. So that was awesome. So if you get a chance to, I would recommend that. Michael Dunn says he's a movie buff, don't like to read. Here's the funny thing. I mentioned not Lord of the Rings, sorry, Gone with the Wind as one of the books I was required to read in high school. And I cheated. I started reading it. I didn't like reading that particular novel. So I went for the report. I watched the movie. Of course, I got a very low score on that exam, because the movie doesn't cover a lot of the details that the book does, like her age at the beginning of the story. I don't know if they mentioned that in the movie at all, but yeah. So I got that question wrong. Robbie Coltrane, thank you. Did I mispronounce his name? Did I say Bobby or something? Anyway, Robbie Coltrane. Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, on that one. All right. So, as I mentioned, the we're going to give away the mag. So, don't forget to get your hashtag in, hashtag UTG, and we're going to do that giveaway in a second. Let me pull up. All right, so hopefully we have all of our hashtags in. I'll give you guys like 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're going to draw for the UTG mag. Ah, Abigail, congratulations. So congratulations, Abigail. Let me just make a note of that. So, you get the UTG mag. And hopefully I'll be getting some more prizes from UTG when we go to SHOT Show, when I go to SHOT Show next year in January. I just got my confirmation from SHOT Show actually that they want me back, and I'll be there in January. I'll also be going to the media range day and get a chance to shoot things. Actually, that was one of the first years that I got to go to the range day. That's when I got to meet the folks over at UTG, and I got to that's where I got the mag, by the way. So congratulations to Abigail. Okay, so speaking of SHOT Show, I also got my first 2 confirmations in terms of booth visits. I'm going to be visiting the Athlon booth on Wednesday of SHOT Show and seeing their new products. And I got a chance to review some of their red dots recently. I've got the Midas Flash. I'm working on the review video for that, so that's coming up. And I did the Midas TSR1 a few weeks ago. I shot it on that really expensive Pardini pistol. I'm sure, the horror of many precision shooters out there, that I would deign to put a red dot on that Olympic pistol. But hey, whatever. I was testing it. I wanted to see if you could. Didn't quite work out the way that I was hoping, but yes, you can technically. But yeah, should you? That's a whole nother question. But so yeah, I'm going to be seeing what their new products are over at Athlon. And also I got a confirmation from March Scopes, and I reviewed their Magesta recently, and that has became like the most popular video on my channel. So I really want to thank March for lending me that scope. It's a very expensive scope, so yeah, they didn't give me a scope. I got to borrow one from an F-class shooter. And it is a nice scope, but it is a very specialized scope. So I was kind of coming at it from the point of view of just sort of the average guy, and I buy into the same kind of marketing hype that all of you guys get into in terms of what the scope. It's almost like a catch or a blind leading the blind in a way, because the scope manufacturers follow the trends that are in the market, but the people in the market follow what the marketing is as well. So everybody who got into ELR, PRS, and NRL competitions for longer range, everybody is pushing for, we got to have first focal plane, got to have Christmas trees, because that's it helps with those kind of competitions. Yes, it does. But for other competitions that are also long range, having a Christmas tree actually is not a great thing, and having first focal plane doesn't always help. Or can be a hindrance, like in the case of the March scope, which is really tailored for F-class shooters and bench rush shooters who are shooting at 1,000 yards. They're shooting at a target that is 3 inches wide at 1,000 yards, and so they've dialed in, and that target is just the only target they're shooting at. They're not shooting at multiple targets at different distances and different stages. It's still one target, and they're not trying to just get a ding on a 6-inch plate. They're aiming for one little target, and they're shooting 10 shots, and they're trying to get them all into that 3-inch target. So when that kind of shooting, you want just a very clear, high magnification scope with a very fine reticle. Because when you're cranking it up to the 40 or 60, or in this case 80 power, you want to have as fine of a reticle as possible so you can see that little 3-inch dot 1,000 yards away. You don't want all this other clutter in there getting in your way. But the thing is, if you had a first focal plane scope that looked really fine at 80 or even 60 power, if you dial that down to 10 power or 20 power, those fine lines are just going to disappear. So what's the point of having a first focal plane scope? So that's the reason why the March Majesta is a second focal plane scope, because it makes absolute sense if you're shooting bench rest and F-class. So anyway, long story short, I'm going to be meeting with them. They said they've got some new products out, which is kind of exciting because I got a chance to see the 80 power Majesta last year. So I wonder, are they going to have what do you think they're going to have? Are they going to have a 90 power scope, 100 power scope? I wonder. Yeah, it should be interesting. So I'll hopefully get a chance to see them on Tuesday. I've got to nail down what time, but hopefully it'll be in the morning. So let me know in the comments or send me an email. You could always DM me or send me a message through my Twitter, and I'll include a link to all that on my actual page. But let me know if you have any questions you'd like me to ask while I'm there to Athlon or March. And I'm still lining up my visits to other booths and trying to make appointments with the folks at other booths. But let me know also if you'd like me to any specific brand that you'd like me to go and check out, and also report on their new products. So please do so. All right. Let me set things up for our final giveaway tonight. Yes, there is a third giveaway. I'm doing a third giveaway tonight. So just bear with me here with the giveaway tool. And what are we giving away to next? Well, I'm giving away this Condor bag from SHOT Show. And this is actually a really pretty nice saddle bag, by the way. And inside, you're going to get a Moondog patch from me, but you're also going to get a bunch of cool little swag from SHOT Show. You got some pins from SIG, Winchester, Nighthawk. Got a button from March scopes, and I believe this is and you get a little Winchester sheriff's badge. So yeah, I'm gonna include all that swag that I got at SHOT Show with this bag from Condor Tactical, and that's gonna go to our winner. So let's go with a hashtag Condor, CONDOR, for our final giveaway that we're going to give well, it's almost the top of the hour. So let's say in about 10-15 minutes or so, if you guys want to hang out a little bit past the our hour end. And let me just point out some of the new folks who've jumped on. I believe let's just go with Hillbillies. Why don't you everybody type in Condor, and I'll give a shout out to everybody who's still on the live stream. And of course, if you've already won something and prefer to give it to somebody else, I'll give you that option as well if you want to put that on there. If you don't, if you don't want to. What I'm saying is put the hashtag on there just so I can call you out. And if you win and you would like to donate it to the next winner, just let me know and I'll do the spin again. So we got Michael Dunn on the side chat. we got Cyclops Joe. Hey, Cyclops Joe, how are you? He's the man who coined the phrase nipple twister. So if you see that in any of my reviews, I got that from him. Okay, for sure. So he said, "Let others win the bag." For okay, you got it. You got that, Joe. And Abigail and Gizzard Gary. He's on there as well. Hey Jamie, how are you? So we got JH586. He's got a great show, Georgia Shooting Connection. So check that out. Hey Jamie, you won last week, but I have you gotten any of my emails that because I don't have your address, so I wanted to get the bag over to you that you won last week. So Jamie, if you wouldn't mind, go to moondogindustries.com/contact, and I'll put that up on. I'll type that up right now. moondogindustries.com/contact. Oh no, contact. Sorry, contact. And send me an email, Jamie, and get me your address, and I'll get you the bag, the guns.com bag that you won last week. All right. And let me talk. That's actually a good segue, since I was pulling out that bag. Some of the other things that I've got on the floor here that I wanted to share some of the things that I'm reviewing this week. And one of them, it's just kind of interesting. It is a plate carrier from Feyachi that where I'm testing out. I got a buddy of mine over at the gun club to test this out. He has a lot of experience wearing body armor. And I'm not at liberty to explain why, or what he did. But anyway, I asked him because he's my plate, he's my body armor guy in terms of advice. So I asked him to try this out, and he did find it to be a pretty good budget plate carrier. And I'll go into this more in my review, but it's fairly inexpensive at about at under $150 for a plate carrier. But here's the interesting thing about it, is that it has a quick release that's magnetic. So this thing at the front here, if you pinch this, sorry, I'm not, there we go. It just pops open, this flap. You can see here, it's magnetic when you engage it. Now, you can't twist it open. I'm trying to twist this as hard as I can. I can't twist this open. It'll only open if you, there we go, press down on this. And it also pops open the top two. If you press on the top part, it'll pop the two straps on the top. So it is the fastest releasing plate carrier he's ever seen, and I've ever seen. But got a question: why do you think that you'd need a plate carrier that would open up so quickly? I mean, he has his own theories about it. Like maybe they're for the use case that you have a rollover, you get an IED, you're traveling in a vehicle, and it rolls over and you need to extract wounded individual. And if you're wearing this, if you're on fire, God forbid, you need to get the plate carrier off that individual. You can squeeze this, and you can pull off the plate carrier. Or if you get a rollover into water on your vehicle and you need to get out, you're not going to be swimming with a plate carrier, unfortunately. So a lot of higher end plate carriers from London Bridge and some other folks have quick release systems, but this is the fastest release that I've come across, this magnetic one. Now it does have some downsides. Well, you know what? I'll get into the nitty gritty of it. But anyway, this is one of the interesting things that I get to review. But some of it is you may not see if you're on some of my channels. Like if you're on 2A, I might put this on 2A, but I might also put this on my Moondog Reviews channel instead. I will definitely be putting this one on Moondog Reviews. This is a pair of 511. These are the new XVI pants, and these are probably their top tactical pants that they just came out with it this year. Actually, that's not accurate. They actually came out with it the year before, but you had to be law enforcement or military to get these pants. But they just started offering this for civilians, which is the reason why I got them. But they come with their own integrated knee pads and straps on the inside. So not only are they on the outside, which is one of the things I never liked about the UCP, or sorry, the Army's integrated knee pads on their uniforms. They never were right on your knee. So these ones, at least you could adjust them. And they also have adjustment straps on the inside, so you can adjust the height of them. But these are fairly heavy because of all the extra padding that's in there. But some cool features on these pants. So that's something that I'm going to be reviewing in the next couple of days. So you'll be able to see that. And 511 stuff is really top notch in terms of just look at the reinforcement that they have on here. And these are angled stitching on here so that it doesn't run. So it reinforces. Look at the amount of reinforcement. Now that's the sort of problem with budget plate carriers and other vests. They don't have that extra reinforcement that they really should. I'm sure it'll be fine for folks who don't necessarily wear these on a daily plate carriers on a daily basis. But yeah, this is meant to be worn by folks, tactical folks on a daily basis. It's just got extra padding, extra stitching, and even padding along the belt area. So that's great because if you're going to be wearing a heavy duty belt, with your sidearm, extra mags or whatever, that's going to put a lot of strain on pants. So they really did a good job in terms of thinking about what folks need. And they designed those pants with the feedback of a lot of law enforcement and tactical and military guys. So really good stuff. And yeah, so Jamie said, I bet they don't come in my size. I don't know. Maybe they do. You might check it out. 511 does make quite a range of things. And the folks over there were really nice and kind. They even they sent me the EDC knife that I've been testing long term now, and it's held the edge. I haven't had to sharpen this yet, and even though I've abused this thing for the last 6 months, including I was testing it with the fire starter, with the Blackbeard fire starter, and that was the main comment when I was using it on the Ferro stick, was that, oh my God, don't use the sharp edge. You got to use the flat. I know you're supposed to use the flat so you don't ruin the edge of your blade. But yeah, I was testing this to see if it would affect it. No, it was still cutting paper after that. So yeah, the 511 makes some really good stuff, and it's not just their pants and their bags, but also their EDC gear is actually well thought out, which actually shouldn't be all that surprising, considering their experience with that. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to share, one of the new products that I'm in the process of reviewing from Claris flashlights. This is their new EDC light. Look how thin this thing is. This is crazy thin. It is about the size of the 511, actually smaller than the 511 knife. You can see this. And it's way light. I think it's like 6 ounces or 4 ounces, this thing. Super light and bright. It's 600 lumens on the main light on the side, and it's obviously made so that you can clip it on, if you have an epaulette, or clip it onto your pocket or whatever, so you can use that as a primary light. And it has a secondary light. This is funny. It's like usually you'd have your secondary light at the tip, but no, this is actually your primary light on the tip, but actually this is a secondary light. This is the primary light on this. And it's got a couple of different modes: strobe, high mode, and this weird sort of red and blue signal mode. So for emergency, you need to flag down somebody. So you got one of these. So I'm reviewing these. Come in a bunch of different colors too. They sent me a pink, a orange, blue, and I believe they come in black and gray too. So either 5 or 6 different colors on these, and it's magnetic too. So yeah, pretty cool. And so I'll be doing a test on that along with a lumen test, drop test, the usual thing. All right. So let's see. Do we have our final giveaway? So if you haven't already, put in Condor, hashtag Condor, and I will set up that giveaway in a second here. Now, before I do, I forgot to mention one thing, and I know it sounds like a bit of a plug, but one of the segments I wanted to start introducing in my live stream is the mailbag segment, and that is, hopefully I'll start getting some interesting things from you guys emailing me. But today I got an interesting email from Aguila, the ammo folks, and I went by their booth last year, and they didn't really have that too many new ammos that they wanted to show me, but they wanted to show me their apparel of all things. So I wish I had something cool like these 511 pants to show you from Aguila, but they had some really high-end shooting vests and gear. Certainly it looked like stuff like Ralph Lauren-esque kind of clothes for the shooters. But so I put in my I didn't win the contest that a lot of the booths have out there. So I put in my name. So obviously they have my email address, and I got an email from them about a shooting competition that they hosted this month down in Mexico, and this has to be the nicest shooting competition I've ever seen. They sent along, sort of a promotional packet in terms of, here's some photos from them, and I want to share some of these photos here, and we can talk about it for. So this is the shooting area. This is pretty standard. It's somewhere I believe north of Mexico City, like 2 or 3 hours north of Mexico City. So the shooting range, pretty modern. When they had a shooting competition, you can enter to compete in it. I don't know what the fees are, and the website. I'll include a link to their website for registration for last year, just so you could see what it is. But it was in Spanish, so I had to do a Google Translate on the website. But anybody can, but you don't have to speak Spanish to enter. Here's one of the interesting things I found out about this is that you can enter this competition. You don't have to travel internationally with your guns. They'll loan you guns when you get there, shotguns, to compete in the competition, but it's a destination competition. How cool is that? You have to pay to be part of the competition, but they have different packages. It's almost vacation packages in terms of you can not just compete, but you can also get restaurant, a dinner, and there's also a show. There's like a bullfighting show and just some of the things. Yeah, a horse riding competition. So there's a rodeo attached to this, so you could pay for the package that includes the shows and entertainment. And these are the trophies, by the way, which I think are the nicest, the coolest looking trophies I've seen. I mean, we all familiar with the big grandiose cups and things, what have you, but this is one of the coolest shooting trophies I've ever seen. It's as you can see, they're the back of the shotgun shell hole, but really nicely designed, I gotta say. So yeah, interesting. But I thought it's an interesting concept to do like a destination vacation shooting competition. Have you ever heard of anything like that? Have you ever gone to anything like that? I think it would be kind of cool. I'm not a cruise kind of person, but I think it'd be kind of cool to do like a trap or a skeet shooting cruise, so that you could go on the cruise. I mean, I don't want to be setting up roles, because certainly there's a lot of shooters out there who are women, but there's also a lot of folks who shoot and their spouse doesn't shoot, or whatever, or don't really. They'll shoot, but they'll do so with maybe at a different skill level, or just not. Just do it for they just do it for fun. They don't necessarily want to compete. But let's say you want to go somewhere and join a shooting competition, and I did that, as an observer recently at that 1,000-yard bench rest match. But my wife, who came along with me, wasn't all that interested in going out to the range, which is understandable. She wanted to stay at the hotel and just hang out there at the pool, which is fine. Okay, fair enough. But wouldn't it be great if you could go to a shooting competition somewhere where, they bake that into it, where you're at a nice resort somewhere, so your family and spouse can spend their time at the resort, and at the resort there is the shooting competition for you to go, in the morning or whatever, and compete. So it's the whole package. That's actually kind of a neat little. That's an interesting concept. Maybe that already exists. Probably does. Like I was mentioning, it wouldn't surprise me if there's a shooting competition cruise out there. But I'm just not aware of it. But let me know if you've heard of that. All right. So okay. Last call. Hashtag Condor. For those of you who just joined the live chat, get your hashtag in, hashtag Condor, and I will be pulling that winner in a few seconds. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, Jamie won another bag. This one's a different bag, by the way. So, congratulations, JH586. You're the bag man. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but yeah, you get the Condor bag with all the goodies inside of it, and you don't have to worry about it not fitting you. So, congratulations, Jamie. And again, get me just make a note of it, but get me your email address, and not email, your physical address in my email, and I'll get you these bags. So Jamie, JH586. Okie dokie. So, as we wrap things up, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining me on my second TMI, Too Much Information live stream. And the reason I named it that, it was because I knew I was going to get into these little segues about topics that, like the classics and books you read. So if you have any thoughts on those that you haven't shared in the chat, please do so. Send me an email. You can always send it to Moondog Industries. Go to moondogindustries.com/contact for that information, and for the form on there. Send me an email or chat with me on Twitter. And don't forget to send in your contest entries, your screenshots of my Moondog Go website and my Twitter page if you're on Twitter. And you can be entered to win the contest to win these cool precision scope mounts. And again, you have a choice: 30 millimeter, 34 millimeter. You can have the 1.5 inch height or the inch and 1.9 inch height. And hopefully the newer the newer rings will be coming out by the time that the contest ends at the end of the month. So those ones are coming out, and hopefully I'll get a chance to review them soon. But I'm still quite happy with these ones. So, and you have your choice of these or the 775 precision pre-lapped scope rings if you prefer those instead. All right, everyone. I want to thank Hillbilly, American Hillbilly, for hey, by the way, there he is. How are you, Hillbilly? I want to thank American Hillbilly for assisting me in setting up the live stream, and I'm borrowing his live streams, so to speak. So I want to give a shout out to American Hillbilly, and be sure to tune in to his live show every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, which would make it 9 p.m. Central and 10 p.m. Eastern. That is the Guns, Beer, and Therapy live stream. And of course, a lot of the folks on here on the chat, including a lot of our winners like JH586, they're also guests, and as well as hosting their own live streams. Jamie, if you could correct me, I believe you're on Friday, though I don't remember. I've caught the Georgia Shooting Connection show on, but I don't remember when I watched it when I was at the range. I think it was on Friday nights. But anyway, just Google the Georgia Shooting Connection, and I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube because they own YouTube. So the first thing will come up will probably be a YouTube video. Anyway, so thanks for everybody for joining in. Catch me again next week, same time, and we'll be having some additional giveaways and some additional topics. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. You be safe out there. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.